Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1783, Bullitt from 1968. So, yes, we watched Bullitt last night. It was awesome. But I have to say, it is one of those movies I'm going to have to watch again on a big screen. I have I think it's 36 inches 36-inch TV in my family room, which is a big room. The TV is way too small for the room. I need to be sitting probably half the distance to the TV than what I am now. My room is 13 feet long, I think it is. 13 feet from where the TV is to where I sit. And let's see, going on the diagonal of the thing, it's 36 inches. So I should be sitting about 6 feet away from the TV. And I'm not. I'm sitting twice that distance. So, so if you want to work out how far back from the TV, although technology is changing, how far back from the TV you should be sitting, it is twice the distance of the diagonal measurement of the TV. So if you've got a 36-inch screen TV, that's 72 inches, that's 6 feet. Very easy to work out. But I sit about 12 to 13 feet away from the TV, and yeah, it's a small little TV on the far side of the room. So that one has been put down to rewatch once I get a bigger screen TV, which I'm not exactly sure when that is going to be. I have a few things I have to accomplish before a new TV is allowed in the house. Because once a new TV gets in the house, it's going to be danger lane when it comes to movies. But I am looking forward to seeing some movies on screen. I actually even have some Blu-rays I haven't even cracked the plastic wrap of yet, because I am waiting to watch them on the big screen. I know they're going to need to be watched on the big screen. Bullitt, I was not aware needed to be watched on a large screen. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Loved the car chase, even though I am like twice the distance from the TV, so I didn't get the full impact of the car chase. But having seen many car chases and flight scenes and chase scenes of all sorts throughout the years from movies on bigger screens and everything else, I kind of had an idea that this is going to look damn good on a big screen. So yeah, that one's going to go into my would love to rewatch it, but cannot do it until the big screen comes in, till the big screen's installed. And then it's going to be a troubling time to figure out what I'm going to watch. Because I also have Top Gun Maverick, which I have not seen yet, sitting in my big screen TV box. These movies are in a special box that I am not allowed to pull them out of until I have a big screen TV. How big am I going to go? I don't know. Probably at minimum 65 inches. So 65 inches is what? Times 2 is 130. That's about 11 feet, I think. Hang on. Is that 11 feet? Yeah, it's just over 10 feet. So I might have to go a little bigger, but 65 at minimum is what we're looking for. So yes, I have a box of DVDs that I have set aside that is not allowed to be watched until we have a big screen TV. So I better hurry up and get to it, because some of those movies are like itching view time. But what did I think of Bullitt? I loved the movie. I thought it was really good. Movies that were done late 60s and 70s had a certain, I'm trying to think of the right word, had a certain feel about them. One thing I noticed, that when they got into situations where there was action happening, it was kind of laid back. But then if you think about the 60s and 70s, a lot of the movies that came around that time, when they had the action scenes, there wasn't all the hype up to it. There wasn't all the, I'm used to, action movies that we have today where the music is there. That builds up the tension in the movie and the action scene that's taking place. And then the car scene, the car chase scenes, they're all cool as cucumbers behind the wheel of the car. And I'm like thinking back to, when was the last time I watched a car chase? And I'm like thinking back to how they were like looking all around the place. They're like, where is he? There's talking going on while the car chase is going on. They're not sitting upright. They're kind of slouched in their seats. They're kind of, just a whole different vibe when it comes to doing a car chase. Whereas in this one here, the guy that Bullitt was chasing, he's just there in his chair, he's just sitting upright, and he's just calmly driving down the street and turning corners, and there's no tension, there's no talking with his passenger. And I just thought and it was just almost surreal at a point. Like, am I watching a car chase or not? There wasn't any of the music. There was none of the tension that you normally get in a car chase scene. It was just a very laid back car chase scene, but it was a really good car chase. And I could tell it's going to look even better on the big screen. So we're saving that one for that. So we're going to be going back and watching that one. But yeah, I just thought that, and there was so much that was not said that was said, if you know what I mean. So there's times when they were just, like a line was said and then there's nothing. There's like silence. There's just these facial expressions going on. There's a whole conversation going on around the face, the looks in the eyes, and nothing is said. And then all of a sudden somebody will say something, and again, you get that silence. And this is the way the movie was recorded. And I just sort of like, that was, I haven't seen a lot of movies from the late 60s, early 70s, but I remember that vibe from when I watched movies later on. But and I've kind of forgotten that vibe that they had back then. But there was just like this chillaxed feel about the movie. There wasn't a lot of, and in places there wasn't a lot of dialogue. In some scenes there was like maybe a couple of lines of dialogue said, but the rest of the dialogue was all on facial expressions, eye movement, and body language. And even in some cases, there wasn't even a body language. It was just the facial expressions that you had to watch to get the gist of what was being said or how intense it was, which is a very different way to watch a movie than it is today when there's a lot of dialogue. You really don't have that quiet time where the facial expressions and the eyes come in and give their own dialogue, which I absolutely loved how this was filmed with these few lines. And like, I hadn't seen this movie before either, so in case you're wondering, but I liked how a few lines were said and then nothing was said physically, but there was a lot said in the body, in the facial expressions in the eyes. There was like a whole nother dialogue scene going on there. And I thought it was absolutely brilliantly done. So I really enjoyed that movie. Definitely looking forward to watching that on the big screen when I finally get one. It will happen. It will happen. So yes, I'm looking forward to getting at least a 65-inch, maybe bigger. I've got the space for it, but then I got to think that this place is only rental; it's not permanent. So if I move from here, am I going to have room to put my big screen? Yes. The reason that I rented this place is because it's got a nice big family room area, and it could accommodate a big screen. And even in the walls, the family room is all pre-wired for surround sound. They have got blank face plates, and when you pull under those face plates, there's wires in behind, and then down behind where the TV, where I've got the TV table sitting, there's this panel in the wall, which has got all these labeled outlets. So that kind of looks like the back of a receiver where you have all the knobs where you put the wires in between them, where you unscrew the piece, you poke the wire, and then you screw it back up again. If you remember what the back of a receiver looks like. I'm very good at wiring that stuff up. So the back of my wrist, and so there's a panel on the wall that's about this big, and it's got all these little things, and they're all labeled, and you just stick your wire in there and screw it in, and then stick the other end of the wire into your receiver, and you're all hooked up for surround. Oh, and then you've got to attach the speakers to where they come in as well. And they've got them up high, they've got them down low. In the back, they've got them on the ceiling. And I'm like looking at this, and I'm going, this is awesome that they've got all these things wired for speakers and everything else. I have the speakers to make an incredible sound system. I actually have two speaker systems. One was from our movie theater that was in our basement back in Virginia. The other one was from the family room up in Virginia as well. And we actually, we were rebels back then. When our house was being built, we actually snuck into our house the night before the drywall went up. We had done the pre-drywall inspection. We had sneaked a key because we got told where the keys were for the garage door, and there was two of them on a key ring hanging just inside the garage door, and we knew where that was. And so we actually went in one night. They'd left the garage door open, and we actually swiped one of those keys. And so we could now come and go. As long as they didn't lock the door from the garage into the laundry, we had free access to the house. And so the night before the drywall was getting done, we snuck into the house. We ran Cat 5 wiring from all the bedrooms except the master bedroom down to the office, the room that's going to be the office, from the family room into the office, from the kitchen desk into the office. That was all for the Ethernet, for the connection, the wired connection within the house. So we went through and we did all those. We put the little boxes in and everything else as to where the outlet was going to be and everything. Then we went through the family room and we ran all of the wiring for the speaker system to do the surround sound speaker. And we actually color coded with electrical tape the different wiring. And so when it came to hooking everything up, everything was all color coded. We just needed to go, oh, this one's got a white and red, and this is the left rear. Okay, left rear. I need a white and a red. There's the white and red one. Strip it, connect it with the receiver. So we actually pre-wired our. Yeah, I would tell us it was in July. We're in July in Virginia. It's stinking hot, high humidity. We've got sweat pouring off us. We've taken a few bottles of water with us to keep us hydrated because we knew it was going to be a lot of work. And we were there for like 2 to 3 hours running these wires and stapling them into, and we had a staple gun, so we're stapling them into place to hold them in. But the drywall guys, when they came, they had no clue that there were extra things. They just said, oh, there's a junction box. We need to cut a hole out here. So, of course, when the drywall was all done and everything else, there's all these little holes where we put all the speaker wires, we put all the Ethernet cable through it, we'd run the Ethernet cable through the house, and it was actually pretty cool. And some of it we ran down into the basement for when we needed it down there because we knew we were going to be putting a movie theater in. We just didn't know, we didn't have the plans at that time. So, yes, we ran some wiring down there as well, and our house was wired before it was finished. So that's what we did. And it wasn't even a package that was offered by the builders to put speaker wires in, put Ethernet cables. Those packages were not around back in '98 when we were building the house. And so yeah, when we moved in, and they put blank face plates over everything. So when we moved in, we just went and removed all the face plates and put the correct connection. Like if it was an Ethernet, we wired in the Ethernet. If it was a speaker wire, we got the ones with the little holes in them so the wire could come out. And yeah, it was fun. But so this is a pre-wired family room, but I can't hang anything on the walls without the landlord's permission. So I can't set up rear speakers. And I have the speaker systems. I already have them. I found the receiver. I got my two really good receivers. I've got my speakers. I found the remotes for the receivers. Still haven't found the remote for the TV, but I've got the universal remote, which I've been able to program for the TV, so I can now have it switch inputs, and I just go watch a movie, and it switches the input to the right input where the Blu-ray is plugged in. It turns the Blu-ray on. It turns the TV on, and we're good to go to watch a movie. So I don't have to stand there and try and figure out which button do I have to press, and yeah, I don't have to figure out any of that. And if I want to go back and watch the Fire Stick, I just watch TV and it flips everything back to the other one. So yes, I'm waiting. So yeah, when I get the big TV, I'll probably end up hooking up some of the speakers, but not all of them, or hooking them up in a way that I can hear everything. So I might have to get like a couple of stands to stick at the back of the room, and find a way to run the wires, because there's no way I can run the wire from the ceiling down to the speaker. But if I end up buying this place, which I wouldn't mind, if I had the opportunity to buy it, I wouldn't mind it, then that won't be a problem. But anyway, so once I get a big screen TV, I'm going to rewatch Bullitt because I want to watch the car chase again. But I love how this movie had the two dialogues, the dialogues of spoken word and the dialogue and the unspoken word, with just facial expressions and eyes. It was very well done, very well filmed. I thought the filming was great. What was the story? I don't even really remember what the storyline was. It was just a little... Oh, yeah, that's right. The guy got killed that they were supposed to be protecting, and they had to find out who did it. That's where the car chase came in. But very good car chase, even if I was watching it on a 36-inch screen from 13 feet away. Yeah, big screen coming. So what are we watching tonight? Well, tonight we were supposed to have a special guest, but they are tied up, and they'll be back. So tonight I think we're watching Funny Face with Audrey Hepburn. I think that's what we're watching. Hang on, I'm just bringing up my list. Let's see. Yes, tonight we're watching Funny Face from 1957. I have that on DVD. It's got Audrey Hepburn in it. Let's go over to IMDb, because there's some interesting trivia on IMDb about this movie. So this has Fred Astaire and Audrey Hepburn in it. And when my system does what it's supposed to do. And it is basically about, what is it about? I have not seen this movie. This is a brand new movie for me as well. An impromptu fashion shoot at a bookstore brings about a new fashion model discovery in the shop clerk. And so it's got Audrey Hepburn in it. It's got Fred Astaire in there. What other names do I? Okay, now I have to mention these other ones here. Now, if I go over to trivia, just having a quick look through the rest of the script, I don't recognize any other names. Now, if I go back to where the trivia was, there's some very interesting trivia about this movie that's listed, that's shown on IMDb. It says that Fred Astaire's character is based on the photographer Richard Avedon. And they said, in fact, it was Avedon who set up most of the photography for the film, including the famous face portrait of Audrey Hepburn unveiled during the darkroom sequence. So I'm like, ooh, got to see what this headshot looks like. Then it also said ditzy model Marion is played by Dovima, who was a top fashion model of the day and often worked with Richard Avedon. And then it said that ditzy model Marion's interest in comic books was inserted into the film to reflect actress model Dovima's real life passion for them. Oh, this is so cool. Now, this one I don't know how, this is probably done a lot in Hollywood if they want two actors to work together. In order to secure Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire in the cast, producers told each that the other had already signed, figuring that they would not pass up the opportunity to work together. Oh, that's sneaky, and that probably still happens. That probably still happens. Audrey Hepburn was offered the lead role in Gigi from 1958, but turned it down to make Funny Face. And there is a cameo appearance in here, which I think is really, really cool. And I'm probably going to screw this up, Baroness Ella Van Hemstra, a sidewalk patron. So when you see the sidewalk scene, there's a cafe patron there, sitting there. It is actually Audrey Hepburn's mother that is sitting there in the movie. So she gets a cameo appearance in the movie, which I thought was really cool and really sweet. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Funny Face tonight. And if you've seen the movie, let us know what you think about it. What's your favorite scene from it? For those that I asked that question last night with Bullitt, I got a lot of different responses and everything on that. I got some different responses. Hang on, let's see. Car chase was one of the responses that was quite. Sorry, I'm just putting myself live on my live. Oh, I'm not usually that stupid. It's just been it's been a actually very cool day today with lots of stuff going on. Where was it? Oh, there we are. And there was the car chase was mentioned a couple of times. And somebody even put there, hope the TV does the major car chase justice. And I had to put, unfortunately, it didn't. And that I was going to be rewatching it, and I'd be rewatching it. So, yeah, the car chase came up a couple of times in that post. But anyway, so we're going to be watching Funny Face tonight. Bullitt was last night. Thoroughly enjoyed it. If you've seen Bullitt, leave your comments below. And yes, I am going to rewatch it on a big screen. I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to that. And actually, my goal is to have it in place by November, because November we start James Bond Fest month. And then in December, we go straight into Holiday Movie Fest. So it would be nice to have it in place by November so we can do James Bond all on big screen. And it's been a while since I've seen James Bond on big screens. The biggest screen I've seen him on, of course, is in the theater. Just trying to think. And No Time to Die, which is the last one. I did not see that in the theater. I saw that on my piddly little 32-inch screen TV in the RV. That was one problem with it being in the RV, is I only had 32-inch screen TVs in the RV and not designed for watching movies on. The setup of that place was not designed for watching movies. I suffered through it. You put up with anything to watch a movie. And now I got a 36-inch TV. I increased the size of the TV by 4 inches. And yeah, it's still not doing justice to the movies. So I'm looking forward to this November watching James Bond on a big screen, as well as watching our holiday movies in December on a big screen. Which means when I get to classic month next year, we'll be able to watch them all on big screen too. But in between them, we've got musicals coming up. I'm actually thinking of doing like movies in a decade, like movies that came out in the 70s, movies that came out in the 80s, movies that came out in the 90s. Although those are going to be hard ones to pick, because I know in the 70s you've got things. There was like Planet of the Apes. There was Star Trek. It was a Star Trek movie. No, Star Wars. Sorry, Star Wars. Planet of the Apes and Star Wars, which I know were some of Brad's favorites. He actually went to the opening of the first Star Wars movie that came out in 1977. Him and his mates completely dressed up in full Planet of the Apes costumes with the makeup and everything. I actually have photographs of them all at Brad's parents' place putting on the facial makeup. They actually did the full masks with the hair and everything. They actually did a pretty good job, and I found some photographs from that, but I think there's some more photographs around somewhere as well. So I've got to keep looking for those. So I don't know, those are two of the movies. And then of course you had like Grease came out in 1978, I think that was. And it was Staying Alive in the 70s or the 80s. Oh, no, not Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever. That one came out, I think it was either, that was late 70s, that was either late 70s or early 80s on that one. What other ones do I know that came out during that time? Oh, The Out of Towners came out in 1970. That's the one with Jack Lemmon in it. That's a really cool movie. And then like years later got remade with Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn. But I showed my parents the original one that came out in 1970, and they absolutely loved it. Yes, we're going to also do movies that came out in the 70s, movies that came out in the 80s, the 90s. The 80s is going to be the hard one, because that's a lot of, that's my era, that's my jam, all my 80s music. And so I think there was the Goonies, and what else came out during that? E.T. Is E.T. the 80s? Yeah, E.T. was the 80s. Or it might have been late 70s. You see, I've got a lot of movies to go back through and have a look at. And we're also going to do a musical month as well, with just all musicals. We're going to do a month of Disney movies, probably the Disney cartoons are the ones we're going to do. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas going through my head of different movie fests I could do on different months. So we'll keep you posted with those. But tonight we're off to have a walk. It's a little cooler tonight. We're out of the heat warning index. We're out of the heat warnings, excessive heat warnings. We're out of those right now till Friday. Then Friday we're back into it again. But tonight I think we're actually going to be below 3 digits when we go for a walk this evening. For those watching from New Zealand, that's less than 40 degrees. We're still going to be in the 30s Celsius, but we're not going to be in the 40s. Yes. So anyway, we're off out to go and have a walk and watch Funny Face from, what did I say, Funny Face? 1956? No, 1957, and it's an hour and 43 minutes. So that'll be a cool one. Anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening to talk about Funny Face and let you know what we're going to be watching tomorrow night. Until then, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. He konera.